they have started, because why would you want to miss how to secure global opportunities? So let's do that real quick. Tag your friends, tag your classmates, and let people know that you've started. And we're not waiting for anybody. We're not doing when it's 9:10, when it's 9:15, we'll start. No, we are starting right now. So if you have somebody that should be here that is not, just tag them on the general group, sorry, and let people know that we have started. So good evening, everybody. My name is Monsieur Bano, and I'm the sustainability lead for SPE LASU student chapter. And if you can hear me, can I get your virtual reactions, please? All right, thank you very much. So when I first saw the title or the theme for today's ALP session, I was like, I have to be here because I don't want to be a mechanic. I want to be a baller. And how else do you ball if you don't, secure global opportunities? I mean, that's how to ball in my own books. I believe everybody have their own ways of balling. But one of my many ways of balling is to secure global opportunities. I was like, I have to be here. So a round of applause for each and every one of you that is currently joining our alumni series. Give a round of applause for yourselves. And another round of applause for yourselves for being punctual. This is what I like. A webinar is by 7 p.m. and everybody's here by 7 p.m. So a round of applause for yourselves. Wonderful. Thank you very, very much. All right, so like I said, my name is Monsieur Bano, and I will be your moderator for today's session. So, on behalf of the SP Lasso Student Chapter, I warmly welcome you to today's session titled Securing Global Study Opportunities. Securing Global Study Opportunities. And we are all very excited to have you all join us for what we promise to be an insightful and impactful session. So this webinar is basically designed to help students, young professionals to understand how international study opportunities work, to learn how to secure scholarships, to navigate application processes, and to position yourselves competitively for global education. Right, so to formally welcome and set the tone for today's webinar, I would be calling on our Vice President, the person of Samiat Animashaun, to give us our welcome address. A round of applause for our VP, please.
Okay, so to correct you on that, actually, it's the president that is to take the opening remarks. I'm so sorry. I think some changes were made. Mercy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. All right. So now to formally welcome you to today's webinar, we'll be having our president, the president of Sylvester Gose, to take our welcome address. A round of applause for your president, please. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Sylvester, you have the floor.
All right, thank you very much, Mercy. And yeah, can you guys hear me?
Oh, yes, we can.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mercy. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. President. We can't hear you. I don't know. I don't know if I'm the only one that is currently facing this problem, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, I think there's something wrong somewhere. Okay. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, or I can't. Mr. President, we still can't hear you.
Hi, Mercy. Can you hear me now? I don't know what's wrong with my mic.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Okay, so I want to welcome everybody to tonight's session. I genuinely believe this will be a very remarkable one, and our topic is very important because many of us are very ambitious. We're known to be ambitious people at SPE LASU, and as Nigerians, we are known to be very ambitious. And one thing that our ambition needs is the proper guidance so that we can channel our energy towards the right direction to secure the global opportunities that we believe we deserve. And for tonight's session, we'll be having an alumnus of Lagos State University. He has served as an executive of SPE as well, and he's currently doing exploits in Canada in the person of Mr. Ogunbiyi. And we who were in 200 level then know him to be Scholar Shei, and it's so nice to have him come around to talk to us on securing global study opportunities. And I want to encourage every student on this call to take notes, to engage our speaker, to ask questions, to make use of the opportunities to ask questions, to engage with other people on this call, and to make the best of this time we'll be sharing together on this session. So without further ado, I believe we can get started. And yeah, I hope we all have a great session together. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that one, Mr. President. So very quickly, we'll be taking our safety brief. You know how SPLASU does it? Safety first, even online. Number one, mute your mic when you're not speaking. Two, raise up your hands to speak. Three, use the chat button, C for comments and Q for question. Four, ensure you can still hear the fire alarm with your headset. Five, be at alert and aware of your environment. Six, maintain a good sitting posture. And lastly, always stay safe. Right? And if you have any questions or contributions, you can always type them in the chat box. So are we clear? Do we all get that? All right, I'll just assume that we do. All right, so moving on for the time we've all been waiting for. So if you have that friend or that coursemate that is not here or that roommate, please, you can send the link to them and let them know that we have started and they would really, really not like to miss today's session. So moving on quickly, we'll be introducing our speaker for today's session. I didn't even know he was the scholar Shay. Wow, that's very, very nice. All right, so moving on, we'll be introducing our speaker in the person of Mr. Madekannu Ogunbiyi. Mr. Madekannu is a graduate research fellow and master's student in mechanical engineering, engineering management at the University of Alberta, Canada, where his research focuses on energy systems and emission mitigation. He studied architectural technology at the Lagos State University of Science and Technology, formerly Lagos State Polytechnic, LASPOTech, before earning a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering from the Lagos State University, and brings over 9 years of professional experience spanning architectural design, mechanical engineering, and machine learning, with work touching major firms across Nigeria's industrial and housing sectors. A published researcher and multi-conference presenter, Madekannu has led projects in renewable energy optimization, CO2 emission mitigation, smart grid forecasting, and machine learning applications in energy systems. Most recently, he conducted an ASHRAE Level 1-2 energy audit and presented a detailed analysis of energy use intensity and consumption patterns across student residential buildings at the University of Derby, benchmarked against the CIBSE TM46 standards. He also currently instructs AutoCAD to undergraduate students at the University of Alberta. A proud alumnus of the Lagos State University and an SPE LASU, he brings a wealth of cross-continental academic and professional experience to every conversation about global study opportunities. Now, can we have a round of applause for our speaker for today's session in the person of Madekannu Ogunbiyi? So, Mr. Speaker, You have the floor, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Messi. I appreciate your introduction. Are we allowed to put on our videos? I would just want to know if that's a thing.
Yes, most definitely. Would like to see your very handsome face.
Ah, okay, good. Um, so let me share my screen. I think, is it Messi? Okay, okay. I think Messi will allow me to share my screen. Let me see if. Um, okay, so um, we will not take much time here. I I think the instruction I have is we have, I think, 45 minutes for this program. So there's a lot to talk about here, but I really hope that we can cover the really, really important things here today. So how we are talking about securing global study opportunities. So what is it like? And what are the things we should not do? Um, what are the pitfalls, especially for high performing students? There are a lot of pitfalls that I've seen even in recent weeks. So how can we avoid all of those things? So I will go straight. So I will leave this part because Messi has already introduced me, not to waste our time. So I'll go straight to my story, how I got my graduate scholarship in Canada. And I want you to pay attention to this part because this is a very serious part where people miss it. So it is very possible that some of your mates, you are seeing them, they are pursuing graduate opportunities around you, and you are still looking at yourself that no, we are still in last week per campus. I don't think I have the bandwidth for that now. That would be a very big mistake on your part. A very big mistake on your part. When I started reaching out to my professor here, Professor Kumar, then I was reaching out to some other professors from other universities in the US, Canada, in Australia. But the thing is, I think we're in year 4. It was immediately after our IT, the second semester, after our IT, that we came back. Because I did not leave the campus. I did my IT on the campus. I was with Professor Raji. We're working on one paper with one of his PhD students then on, I think, waste management and pyrolysis. So I did not really go outside. So my IT was basically on that project. So I started reaching out to professors then. I want you to take note of the timeline. So that was like, I think 2024 April. I think we came back March 2024. Then last week of April, the semester began. That's to 500 level. So I started reaching out to professors. That was based off the information I have from my friend at University of Alberta. So I started sending feelers. Okay, I am nearing the completion of my program. I am this, I am that, I have done this, I have done that, and I got no response. That was around May 2024. So you can say it is still so early. Is it 2024, 2023? Yeah, 2023, not 2020, 2023 rather. So you can say it is still very early, but who knows what can happen. So I started sending those code mail. I didn't get any response from any professor. Everything was just like a wall, not like you're talking to a wall. So these are part of the things that can become discouraging to you. But please, I don't want you to give up on that. That is just my beginning from the code mail. Because this is one of the most powerful strategies you can use to land a professor that will listen to you. So let me fast forward to 2025. Just look at 2023 to 2025. I got no response because these are the things that will happen to you. So in case you send 1 or 2 code emails and you did not get a response and you are feeling discouraged or feeling, I don't know, worthless, no, that shouldn't happen at all. So February 11, 2025, I was at the point of what do I want to do now? So let me try again. By then, I already applied to schools in US. I got admitted to the Louisiana State University PhD Mechanical. But I was worried about what was going on in the scene, the political scene in US. I was very worried. And, I didn't mean I was still single. Probably I will not mind what will happen. But I was married. I have a child then. So I had to start thinking for myself and, my very small family. So when I did my interview with the supervisor of mechanical, PhD mechanical at LSU, he said, okay, I passed the interview and all of that. When they sent the funding letter, I was not really moved because I was worried. But what happened, I had to try again. Okay, let me just try this Canada for the last time before I now finally just proceed with my visa application. So Professor Kumar is this man, you always get automated response no matter what. I am in a conference, I will respond to you. I am in a conference, I'll respond to you, and you never hear back. So on February 11, 2025, I had to decide to send an email again and say, okay, dear Professor Kumar, I am reaching out again due to my continued interest in your research work and all of that in energy systems and emission mitigation and all. To my surprise, on that, I think February 11, he did not respond. Then March 14, I tried again. Then I already started my visa application for US. So on, I think March 14, I tried again. I just sent that email. Then that was, I think it was in the midnight, March 14. I was doing something on my system. I just sent that email, just like a one-line email. I am still here showing continued interest. Then March 15, in the morning, Nigerian time, I just saw the response. He even got my name wrong. He said, instead of Ogunbiyi, he said Ogunjimi. Hi Ogunjimi, I see you reaching out. What exactly are you interested in? Is it MSc or PhD? Of course, in Canada, if you have a BSc, you cannot apply to a direct PhD. You always go through an MSc, but in USA, you can apply directly to a PhD. So I did that and I responded to him immediately. Of course, I've been waiting to hear from him for over a year. So I told him I'm interested in MSc for winter 2026. He said, okay, we'll set up a meeting with his secretary, and he did that. So on March 21, I had my interview with him. On March 25, he sent me a link to proceed because the professor must send you an email that you attach to the application that you have been accepted by the professor. So he accepted me and said, okay, I should proceed to apply to the program, which is MSc Mechanical. And I applied to the program. So on April 5, I submitted my application. Because the professor had already accepted me, so there was no need for any long review. By April 7, I received my letter By April 9, I received my funding letter. By um, May 11, I submitted my visa application. By June 12, I got my visa approved, and that was it. So sometimes to not always go like, oh, I have 4.9 GPA, I have 10 publications, and I have this, I have that. I will get it. No, no, please. I want you to perish that idea. It will not always go that way. There are a lot of fantastic students now. I mean, very, very good. That, of course, they are still seeking for ways to, to explore that system out of Nigeria through the graduate study. So that is not fully on them. It's just this. It is just the way it works. So I'll move from that. Now the world is changing. The world is changing, and international students worldwide are so much. In my school, the statistics that was released some days ago shows that Nigeria are one of the highest applicants to University of Alberta, probably for self-funded or probably funded. I wouldn't know, but they did not specify. But Nigeria is one of the highest applicants. When it comes to sub-Saharan Africa, Nigeria is one of the highest. So there is a rise. There's a rise, and there's a need for what is needed. There's the need for global talent, and Nigerians are very intelligent people. I've seen a lot of things that people could do when I was on the campus there. I understand that the campus can be limiting. That's a fact. It can be very limiting. You don't get to see opportunity. But I'm happy for where SP LASU is now. Sylvester can tell how SP LASU was, probably when he just came. But it took the effort of the president before, Favor Emmanuel. He tried a lot, and then from him to Favor, then it was just going up. And I am very proud of what SP LASU is doing. You guys are doing great. So please know that the urgency is real. There's funding pool. But at the same time, there's a policy shift for what is going on now. If you are applying to US now, you have to consider a lot of things. Okay, what happens after my program? What happens after my, I am done? What do I do next? Because most of the people overlook the potential for policies under Joe Biden. The people were entering US, there were no visa restrictions. But now, there are people who I have even guided, okay, do this, and they've gotten it, but now we are still stuck on the visa stage, the uncertainty. That's because the policy is affecting people who are coming in. As a student, you will be applying for an F1 visa. So that is a challenge right now. So before you apply for a graduate scholarship, look at the country. Are they going through a particular uprising? Is this something we should avoid? Is it a place you avoid totally? Because those are the things that will affect you later. You don't just say, do I want to live in Nigeria? No. If I was all about living in Nigeria, I would have gone to US. I'll be doing my PhD in US now. I was really concerned about what happens post-study. That should be at the back of your mind. Post-study, what happens after study. So I'll move to the complacency trap. I know some of you are on first class. Some of you are high-performing students. You will always say, oh, my grades are excellent. That's enough. It's extremely dangerous in academia. That's a fact. So the first thing is there's no perfect time to be ready. You just have to feel ready every time. Then ignoring deadlines. For instance, now those who will be graduating from LASU, I don't know, but as at the time we graduated, then we defended our project in 2024 January, I think. We finished our program I think our exam October 2023, and our project defense was the pre was December. So all of those time, the application for fall 2025 was already open. For 2024 was already open. So I had to put in for it. So please know your deadlines. Another thing is your SOP, how strong it is. When people are writing SOP, they just write it for the sake of, okay, let me just write a generic one. You're using it every single circle. That can be an issue. So please don't be complacent. It can be very dangerous. Please don't be complacent. Universities want researchers, not just your transcripts. Can you confidently work on a research work? Can you do something? Can you bring something out of nothing? You have been given a topic, okay? Can you present something on it? I'm not just looking at your transcript. The reason I'm saying this is because I have dealt with a lot of people in this time, like in this arrangement. You just bring that, you just ask them, what have you done? You just say, oh, Mr. Sheyi, please, I'm coming. You just send me that transcript. I'll just see very, very massive, A's, 4.8, 4.9. So what else? What else do you have? Nothing. That is a very dangerous thing. Please, if that has been happening to you and you are still in year 2, let me start with people in year 2 now. You came from a job and your CGPA is still very high. Last year, campus has not given you a hit and you feel that you can maintain it. Please start engaging yourself in things that can improve you. Please, not just that grade only mindset. Last year, campus can be very difficult. I've been there. So I wouldn't say I don't understand the pressure we all feel. I was a student there, so I know how difficult it can be. Lack of power, a lot of things that can discourage you. But please, you can still do something. And also, when you don't have a research direction, you are just applying without a match, without thinking about a direction. In my case, I knew I wanted to do something on energy, on emission mitigation. So most of you are very familiar with energy because of SP. So please try and have an alignment. All of you don't have to do anything related to energy. You understand? You can do something if you have interest in any other thing. It could be design. You could be very good in the use of AutoCAD, SolidWorks, and there are professors who are interested in these skills. Please continue to develop it. Not everybody will do machine learning. AI is a lie. There is a friend in my level that we left last week together. He got an opportunity in Canada too. In I think something related to design. So it will not always be machine learning AI. No, it will be something that aligns with what you want to like. There are professors who are doing something in almost every field you are interested in. So please, feel free to move out. Then the fear of rejection. I failed a lot of times. I got a lot of rejection in me. Of course, time would not permit us to show me you guys. Some professors will just even tell you, they will not even say hi, just straight to the point. I'm not recruiting. You, after sending a lot of very, very beautiful code mail, and you will just tell you, I'm not recruiting. Sorry, we have my lab is filled up. Some very, very low energy reply. So that can be a thing, but please don't be afraid of failing. So what are the requirements? You need your academic transcript. When you graduate, the transcript you usually use when you are checking your result, that is not what you'll be using to apply. LASSO has 2 types of transcripts. No, let me even say 3. The one you usually check if you are checking your result, when they release the result, they say, okay, they release the result too. That one is different. You cannot use that for admission purpose. So LASSO has 2 types. The unofficial one and the official one that the university will send themselves to the university you are applying to. So, but yet when you are applying, You are applying with the unofficial transcript. The last one provide, I think that one is 15,000. I don't know the price now. And at the time when I was applying, it was 15,000. So you can download it yourself. You can apply for that yourself and get it. So your CGPA, please try and work on your CGPA. CGPAs are very, very important. Very, very important. Of course, you don't have to, it's not all about, first class. But you cannot discount the place of a very high CGPA or good CGPA in graduate programs. So when you apply, you need your transcript, unofficial transcript. The one from LASU is 15,000. Then if you after you've been admitted and university you got the admission to, they are telling you to send your transcript. You will now advise LASU to send the official transcript to them. That one is about 58,000 naira. So you cannot send that yourself. The university has to send that on your behalf for authenticity. Then you need reference letters. Now, this is another issue. When people are applying to graduate programs, one of the major bane is their reference letter. Of course, that will not permit us to show you a structure of a very strong reference letter. Maybe some other time, we will be able to have the time, details on what you should do. So right now is just to prepare your mind. You need to have 2 or 3 professors handy while you're on the campus now, that you can always call and say, hello, sir. The university just sent an email to you. Please, can you help me complete my recommendation letter? You must have those professors. In my case, I have Professor Raji, who was always there for me. I have Dr. Kuku, who was helpful, very, very helpful to me. Professor Amuda, I know most of you should know Professor. I don't know, but he was on sabbatical while I was in the campus, so maybe he's still there, I don't know. But Professor Amuda was very, very helpful while I was applying to my graduate program. I think there are 4 professors like that were very. So you have to build that relationship with them. If you don't build it, I'm telling you, you will have that problem. Because let's imagine you are applying to 5 schools or 6 schools, and each school they require 3 recommendation letters. Now you don't have a relationship with Professor Raji. It doesn't have to be Professor Raji. It doesn't have to be Dr. Kuku. They are just my own people while I was there. So it could be Dr. Adedeji. It could be those in electrical engineering. It could be Dr. Adeyemo Abizi Adeyemo. It could be Dr. Mary. Those in chemical, it could be Professor Yedeko. As they use Professor Yedeko, were those in chemical. Could be them. Could be any of those professors. So you must build that relationship with them. Without that, you cannot do anything. So 6 months into when you are closing your program in Ekpe, start creating that relationship with them, because I'm telling you, this is the most difficult part of your application. You have a deadline in 3 months, and the university has sent an email to them 3 months before the deadline, and you keep on reaching out the professor. Yes, sir, they sent you an email. Please let me check. Yes, sir, they sent you an email. Please let me check. And they will tell you, don't worry, I'll work on it. Don't worry, I'll work on it. Now, 3 days to the closing date, the professor will just rush and just look for one old recommendation letter, edit the name and submit it. I'm telling you, will not get that scholarship. Detailed recommendation letters are recommendation letters written in tandem with what the student has done before. This is Agose. He's so aerospace engineering. He has done this, he has done that. He presented this paper, he did this, he did this, he did this. While he was with me, he worked on this research work, he worked on this, he worked on this. That is a standard recommendation letter. So for you to have that kind of letter, you need to build a relationship with those lecturers on campus. I know it is very difficult to build it with them. All of us are looking for files, but sometimes we just get for be angry. But please, you need it. I'm not supposed to spend so much time on these things, but I may not have the time again to come here. So I might take time unusually than you guys have allotted. But I want you to get this point clearly. That's why I'm saying it now. I don't have to spend so much time on this slide, but I think it is now necessary for me to do that. So pardon me on this, please. On research proposal, it is not really necessary, except the professor require a research proposal. That may not be important. Sometimes the professor, once they accept it, they say, okay, let me see your research proposal. Depending on the professor, well, that is when you are applying, when you are sending a code mail, the professor will now say, okay, send your research proposal. Someone sent something. Sylvester, are you saying something?
No, I'm not saying anything.
Oh, okay. So on your SOP, this is another vital information. It doesn't have to be generic. Some universities will tell you they want a specific word, 500 words. Don't go beyond it. Some will say 2,000 words. Some will say 1,000 words. Don't go beyond it. It has to be tailored for each application. For instance, you are applying to University of Texas A&M. When you are now applying to University of Alberta, you forgot to edit the name out, and you've paid the application fee. You already know that is effectively the end of the application. So some applications will tell you, okay, Animation, tell us about a time when you solved the problem and so. Maybe that is for LSU. University of Alabama will say, okay, tell us how you solve the problem. So you can see they are not the same. So you have to tailor it to each application. Strong letters, strongly worded, not vaguely written, not too much English, not too much grammar, but something that shows substance, that shows quality. So please, and if they tell you to include the name of a professor you are interested in, of course, you have to go and read about their work and include it. So I'm interested in the work of Professor Anima Shaon, so like that. I've read their paper on this. So for your academic CV, you cannot afford to use a work CV. It is not possible. You have to use an academic CV tailored to what you are doing. For instance, if you are interested in aerodynamics, and you see a professor interested in something related to particle dynamics, they are not the same thing. You cannot use that CV to apply to that professor's lab. So you see you have a lot of work to do. If you know you are interested in two research areas, energy systems, and let's say traffic in building, or let's say you are interested in thermodynamics. You can see thermodynamics is extremely different from traffic in building. So you have to tailor those CV to those things. So you have a lot of work to do. So let's leave financial documents. Some other time we'll talk about that. So what you really need. Some US schools, they will ask you for GRE. Some will ask you. Yeah. I think most Ivy League schools will ask you for GRE, but for a lot of universities in US now, they now waive GRE. I wrote GRE. Yeah, I wrote it. You can see my score on the screen. I think for my quantitative I had 161. My verbal I had 167, and my analytical writing I had 3.5. So I wrote it because I just wanted to be strong on all ground. Some universities will tell you not to write it. That it is not required, not important. Some will say if you submit it, they will still use it, but if you don't have it, they will still vet your application. So my advice is this: if your CGPA is not so high, I mean, you are not on the first class, but maybe let me say like a 4.3, a 4.4. You have publications, and you feel that your GRE will make you competitive. Please write that GRE. GRE is very challenging. That's the truth. So there's an obtainable score of 170 on all bands. For verbal is over 170, for quantitative over 170, analytical writing 6. So if you can have that kind of score I have, or something way above that, that's very good. That's very good. That's very good. So please, if you want to write GRE, it is optional for some schools. Check your school. What maybe they really need it. Some Canadian schools most likely might ask for it for business programs. My wife studied accounting in LASU, so she had to write it out. Of course, she had to write it. So, but for many engineering programs in Canada, some will ask for GRE, but most likely will not ask. For USA, many universities ask for GRE, but they are now waiving it. So please, if you don't have the money, I think it's about $235 or so, or $280 something, which is over 400,000 to close to 500,000. So if you don't have that money, please just relax your mind. You understand? So here I'm not sure anybody's doing MBA here. So the programs are merit based. Merit based. If you have if you are good on all ground, I mean, you've covered all ground. It's very good. So, like my school, GRE is waived. Of course, I wrote that GRE for my US applications. So I applied for University of Alabama, MSc Mechanical. Of course, I was admitted there. I was admitted at Colorado State University, LSU. I was not admitted at Texas A&M because I started the application as far back as August of that year. But I don't know why I did not submit the application. I waited till 2 weeks to the end of the deadline before submitting. Of course, they served me. So you have to understand that deadline is a very important thing here. So post-COVID waivers are now permanent. Most schools after COVID, they removed GRE requirement. So if you don't have the money for GRE, you may not write it, but some supervisors recommend you directly write it. I have a friend in Unilag. Our supervisor at LSU told her to write GRE specifically for their research lab. So depending on the research lab, depending on the professor, depending on the school, please don't go and spend your money to write GRE if it is not compulsory. Some universities, it is compulsory. Some universities, it is not. Some will say not required. Some will say required. And some will say, of course, if you have it, you can submit it. But it is not a compulsory requirement. So look at those things, please. So for IELTS, for test of English, I am not sure you need it. Nigerians are usually exempted from test of English, except you are applying to some particular schools, probably in the Middle East. They usually ask for test of English. But for Nigerians, test of English are typically waived. So please don't go and write test of English and no, you will not need it. Except for some specific schools, which is very, very rare for Nigerians. So you will most likely not need to write any test of English. But I just have to bring your attention to it. But you have to write it 7.0 above, TOEFL, 100 plus, Duolingo. Don't even bother about Duolingo. Focus on IELTS. You understand? Focus on IELTS. So, but for Nigerians, it's generally waived. So, why your research experience is your golden ticket? In my case, I have considerable level of research experience working with some professors in Unilag, some in LASU there, then some with my peers, then some of my own work too. So your application just looks like every other application without a research experience. So while you're on campus, I don't know, if you're already in 500 level and you have not done this, it might be a little bit difficult, but it is not too late. You still have some time, maybe 1 year after your program, you can start building, consolidating on what you have. Don't take all those SPE programs, all those poster presentation, all of those things. Please take them very serious. Because once you don't have research experience, how do you want the professor to be interested in you? How do you want to convince them that you are good enough for them? So please, you need research experience. It is extremely important. You need it. Your undergraduate project, make sure you are not just doing it for the sake of, in a way that at the end of the day, it's something you can now refine into a manuscript, like a 15 pages manuscript. That was what most of my friends did. That was what I did. My project was on machine learning analysis for fuel consumption in heavy vehicles. And most of my friends too, something on AI. And they published them. So please, you need your research experience. But one is not enough. 2, 3, 4, 5. Go as much. Of course, you guys know who you are competing with when you go to SP programs. You see how beastly those guys are when they are presenting their work. You can tell how good they are at what they do. So you can tell it will not be difficult for them to land a graduate scholarship. It's very easy for them because they have good research experience. So please have a lot of research experience. Publications are very important. It is your golden ticket. If you have a very high CGPA, you don't have research experience, it can be an issue. Of course, some professors are very high on high CGPA. I'm not saying you cannot. High CGPA are very important too, please. I'm just saying your research experience is a proof of concept that, oh, you have done this work. You have this, you have that. So publications are important. Conference papers are important. So if you go to STSC, all those energy, what do you call it? Forgotten. Please, even if your work is not, just make sure that at least you present them. So if you are in year 2 now and you are dealing with SPE, try as much as possible to be going to STSC. Of course, I know it is difficult. Most times they can put STSC. The last one we did was at Delta State. So it is not always easy like that to travel alone because you need university consent, which is very important. Don't go alone. Nigeria is now very dangerous. Please, so if you are going for STSC, you need university approval to go. Then it was Professor Yedeko, and I think we have to get approval from the dean, Professor Raji. So please, you need that approval before you do that. But if you have any conference, you can go around Lagos there, where you can just present your paper. Please, it is very important. Approach your lecturer. Try to replicate a paper. Attend hackathons. Try to document all of those things. You will need it. I think I've talked about this. Conference paper at NIMECI programs, IEEE programs, oral presentation, all of those things are important. They are important metrics that you need. You could submit your final presentation paper. Please try and do that. And also your journal. You could submit your final year project to an open access journal. So I did that. Please, you can do that too. Your work, if it's okay, I think 15 pages, there are a lot of, but please don't submit your publication to predatory journals. Please, don't submit your paper to predatory journals. There are a lot of very good journals there that are even free that you can submit your papers to. So please, your undergraduate project is very important. If you can try, as you are working on your undergraduate project, you're working on some other things on the side, conference, paper and presentation, poster and other works. They are very important. Workshops, all of those things are important. So please, I beg you, publications are important. Research experience are important. Conference presentations are extremely important. In fact, they single you out. Once you have 3-4 presentation, paper presentation, research experience, a whole lot of them, I think you are already in top 5%. But if you don't have all of those things and you just have a high CGPA, once they stack you against other students from other universities, of course, you know your competitions. You've seen them firsthand. and you know who they are. So if you know you are lagging behind, please, you can still work on it. Now, code mailing professors, this is it. You want to code mail the professor now, and you're interested in their work. So what you are doing is, as a prospective student or PhD student, you are showing interest in their work. So you name their actual work, not just their department. So you let them know, oh, I recently read your paper on so, and I did this, I did that. So, try to connect with them in your opening line. I graduated the first class from Lagos State University. My research work is focused on so. You understand? So just tell them who you are, your university, your CGPA, your key, your skills. Just be concise. Like, don't use too much words, please. Establish a direct link with them. When I was sending a code mail to Professor Kumar, okay, I've worked on this, I've worked on that. I see you are working on this currently in your research lab. I've done something similar. I have these skills, I have that skill. I'm applying to this particular intake. So let them know. Then ask the question, are you accepting funded students? Or don't even say funded. Are you currently accepting students? So it will not look as if you want their money. So you attach your academic transcript, the unofficial one I talked about earlier, and your CV. So if you don't get any response, please, it should be timed. Don't send automated response. Because once you start sending automated emails to them, there's something Gmail does. They flag you as like a bot, and they just ban your Gmail account once you start sending automated emails. So please, also don't send timed emails. Maybe you want to send email by 2 p.m. tomorrow. Then you now want to send 10 of those kind of emails to different professors in different universities. You now time everything to go 2 p.m. the next day to them. Gmail will flag it as a bot, and you will lose your email, and you wouldn't want to lose that part of your application. So please, be respectful when you are sending an email. Introduce yourself. I read your paper on this, I read your paper on that. Establish a direct link to their research lab, and tell them the intake you are taking. Okay, I'm applying to winter 2027. I'm applying to fall 2027. I'm applying to, then close it up. I look forward to hearing from you. If you don't hear from them after 2-3 weeks, I'm reaching out again based on my continued interest in your lab and all of that. Please do that. Code mails are the perfect recipe to getting graduate scholarship. They work a lot. For USA, you don't necessarily need to send a code mail. But for Canada, you need code mails. Because in USA, you can apply directly to university without securing a supervisor. For Canada, you need it to apply. You need it for Canada. So those are the two differences in the two countries. So what you should not do, research what you should do. Let me say what you should do first. Research 2 to 3 professors' recent paper, reference their specific title, keep your word under 250 words, attach your CV. Now, attaching a CV, this is it. I've seen a lot of times people make this mistake of saying, okay, why I actually said 1 to 2 pages so I can remember this point. A lot of people, they use an abridged curriculum vitae CV. They will now shorten the entire CV, and a lot of information will be lost while they are trying to shorten their CV to 2 pages. Please don't do that. Of course, your CV should not be 10 pages, but at the same time, it should not be too short. When I was applying to my graduate program, my CV was 5 pages. That's the fact. So there is a misconception that, oh, your CV has to be. Some schools will tell you, of course, we want 2 pages. But if it is not specified, my academic CV was 5 pages, detailed. Because how do you compete with people when you are just giving them one? Some people even go as shorten it as low as 1 page. No, please don't do that. If you have a lot of work, but that doesn't mean you should just put unnecessary things. I mean, relevant information, strong information, and you cannot lose them out. So why go for 1 page or 2 pages when you have information? So you have the leverage to go as much as 4 pages, 5, if what you are presenting is detailed enough. I don't mean you should just put garbage there, but I mean detailed CV, solid one. And these are informations you cannot lose out. So please, by all means, I'm telling you that this works a lot. Don't follow that platitude of, oh, 1 page or 2 page. No. Be detailed about what you want to do. Then personalize everything, every email. Don't do copy and paste. Dear Professor Kumar, dear Professor Agose, at the end of the day, maybe at the end, you now forgot to remove the professor's name or the professor's research interest. And you know Agose is interested in something in aerodynamics. But when you are sending email to Messi, you are now sending something related to Agose's work to Messi, because if you are too lazy to edit, it can be an issue. So don't use informal language. Hi bro, no. Don't ask about visa details. Don't follow up more than necessary time. Then your code mail should not be like 3 pages long, something concise. You cannot just tell your professor that, can I work with you with 0 research contest, or I want to study with you. Like, what are you studying? So please don't send generic email, 50 template emails to different people. For instance, you saw 4 professors from the same university, from the same department. You now send the same email to all of them. You know what that's, that risks of unseriousness and desperation too. So please don't send generic email to them. Be very specific in your emails. It should be short enough. It should be detailed, but straight to the point. Let them know that you're interested in their work. You've read their paper. You want to work with them. Attach your academic CV, detailed academic CV, and your academic transcript to it. So I will skip this. So what you should aim for high CGPA, take relevant course in your field, build a relationship with your professors. For your recommendation letter, that is the hardest part of your application. If you start applying to graduate programs later, you'll remember that I said this, because you'll be so stressed when it comes to that stage. Sometimes you have to grease the itchy palms. I'll not say more than that. Sometimes you have to grease the itchy palms to get your way regarding recommendation letter. I won't say more than that. Prepare to write GRE if your university requires it. And if you know your application is deficient somewhere, please prepare to write GRE. So set up your Google Scholar profile and your ResearchGate profile. Your LinkedIn, I can see a lot of you are very active on LinkedIn. That's a very beautiful one. Please continue. Your GitHub for coding, your machine learning project, please document them. The personal website, if you can do that, by all means. Your research profile, volunteer in the university lab. I'm not sure we have something like that, but I don't know. For people in chemical, very factual, I think people in chemical have those kind of professors, those kind of lecturers who are more research inclined. So please reach out to them. You want to work with them. Propose a mini project. You're willing to work with the faculty member. You want to replicate their published work and document it. So submit your project to an open access journal, but please avoid a predictory journal. As an SPE member, you are a differentiator, and all of you are word beaters. And I'm proud of all of you. Attend webinars, attend programs. All of you are already doing that. I'm very happy that SPE LASU is going places. You guys are doing great. Conference attendance, please endeavor to build, because you need all of those things later when it comes to things you have done outside. Then volunteer a lot of times. It is very important, because under the section on your CV, there are going to be extracurriculars. How many have you done? Are you just going to put on the SPE? It should be a lot. Like, list them. Please work on all of those information. They are very, very important. So your expectation when you get outside, the weather is always brutal. When I arrived Canada, that day, I think the temperature was around minus 30 something days. Extremely cold. So You expect that. The weather is brutal. Then housing, know that you people pay rent monthly here. It's not like the way you pay house rent yearly. So the house rent you pay monthly. The cost of living too. That is why you need a scholarship. You cannot afford to come here based off a hunch or based off desperation. If I was here without a scholarship, I don't know what life would have been. So you need that scholarship because it makes everything easy for you. You can sleep at night without thinking, how will I get my money? How will I get the funding for my next term, for my next semester? What will happen? So please, when it comes to your study permit, the reality is that the approval is not guaranteed. But you have to show strong ties to Nigeria, your acceptance letter, your funding letter, you prove that you will return to Nigeria. It is very important. Then, as a student in Canada, 24 hours per week, you're only permitted to work 24 hours per week. It used to be 40 hours during the law. So, yeah, it used to be 40 hours, but they reduced it. Because how can you do 40 hours per week and be a student? So it's now 24 hours per week. So you cannot afford to contravene. It has to be 24 hours or 20 hours, depending on the country. For USA, I think 20 hours or 24 hours too. So when you travel abroad, the loneliness is real. Right now, my family, they are not here, but their plans are ongoing. So you can get really, really lonely. So you talk to people, be the community, SP community, your friends at home. Make sure you are in constant communication with them so that you don't lose yourself while trying to find yourself too. Because the reality is when you get here, you understand that things seem to be working well, but it's a different reality from what you are seeing in Nigeria. That's a fact. And you have to live with it if you really want a changed life. So start application 12, 18 months earlier. Email professors long before you are through. Build your research experience, tailor your SOP to your professors, apply to 8 to 12 schools. Don't put your egg in one basket. I applied to a lot of schools, but I just focus on the ones that I was really interested in. So network actively. You guys are already doing that. LinkedIn, SP, events, alumni groups. Follow up with professors. If you are not getting any response, 2-3 weeks, please reach out again. Request for letter of recommendation letter 6 or 8 weeks before the application deadline in advance. Know your target school. What to avoid. Don't wait until your final year. I'm saying this now, please. Don't wait until your final year before you start thinking about grad school. A lot of people have made that mistake. I think when I was in school then, people who know me in my level, they know that I usually preach graduate scholarship. What you should do. Some took it well, some did not take it well. Of course, I kind of understand their skepticism regarding graduate school then. But please don't wait until the end of your program before you start reaching out to professors. It is extremely dangerous if you have the plan, because the scene of the world is changing every time. So please, start early. It could be, if you are approaching your final semester, start collating all your documents. Start looking for professors. Document like 20 professors, maybe in US, 20 in Canada, 20 in US, or in Australia. Those are the countries I would advise you should look at. Because when you're applying to schools, you have to consider the political implication about students in those countries. You have to consider if that country is always in the news for the right reason. Are they currently in a turmoil? Is it a country that supports a post-study plan? Those are the things you should consider when applying to graduate programs. So I have talked about a lot of things that you should avoid. So please, do not neglect your CGPA while also chasing your extracurricular. So look at programs that have very big funding, not just small funding programs that at the end of year one, they'll not start telling you have to go and seek for funding elsewhere. Where do you want to start from? And you already told them you are going abroad to study. So please be careful. Don't just apply to a program that will now leave you flat for due after your first year, and you're now there to start securing funding. And that is extremely stressful for an international student. Please avoid desperation. Nobody's pursuing you in your daddy's house, in your mommy's house. Eat and sleep. Tinubu is there. He's giving everybody shege, but you will still wake up and eat your food. Nobody will be pursuing you about that. Oh, where's your house rent? Where's your this? So don't be desperate for graduate program. You will get it in due time, but just do it the right way. Please, and also don't give up. Don't give up. So my key takeaway is start early, email professors directly, build your research experience, know your requirements, and avoid complacency. Don't wait until the final level before you apply. First class is a floor, it's not a ceiling, and the world is changing. So you have to also adapt to that change by knowing how to adapt quickly with things that you need to do. So thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate your time. I know I've taken so much time, but I think it is very important because this is an important section that I feel a lot of high performing students like all of you really need and really benefit from. So thank you very much, guys.
A round of applause for our speaker for today's session in the person of Mr. Madekannu. Don't stop clapping. Keep clapping until you don't know how to clap anymore. Continue clapping because this session was not just inspiring, it was insightful, it was impactful. Currently, I have like 2 pages of my journal filled up from insights Mr. Madekannu dropped tonight. So I want to say a very big thank you to our speaker for today's session. If you are not writing, you are playing, you are playing big time because this session wasn't just good, it was very impactful. And thank you so much for breaking it down in the most possible way you could. Thank you for personalizing this session, for giving us your experience, for not just telling us what to do, but explaining to us how we can do them. So on behalf of SP Lasso, we say thank you, Mr. Madekannu, for this session. And personally, I would really like a 2.0 of this session because I feel like there's still a lot we have to learn, right? And I'm interested in a 2.0 of this session. So a round of applause for yourselves as well for staying till this long for this webinar, right? This is why we have ALPs to enlighten us, to teach you the do's and don'ts of the industry and schools. So a round of applause for yourself. So very quickly, we'll be having our question and answer session. Because of the time, we'll be giving 5 slots to question and answers. Right. So get your answers, your questions ready. So the first 5 people to raise their hand or to type in the chat box will be given that slot because of time. All right. So let's have our questions rolling. Do we have questions? I'm sure we must be buzzing with questions. Or was the session too? Okay, we have Isaac. Isaac has raised his hand. Isaac, you can unmute your mic and speak. Isaac, sorry, we can't hear you. Isaac, you're currently in a very noisy environment. So it would be best if you leave your current environment if you have any question. Thank you very much. All right, so do we have more questions still? Isaac, find a very quiet place. More questions, you can type in the chat box, you can raise up your hand. Let's have our questions rolling. Mr. Madekannu is here, open to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, please utilize this opportunity and ask. So you can raise up your hand or type your questions in the chat box. Thank you very much. So Isaac, if you found a more quiet place to speak, you can unmute your mic and speak. Okay, so Sammy at Anima Sharon has raised her hand. So Sammy, you can unmute your mic and speak.
All right, Mercy, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Shei. Thank you so much for the insightful session. So my question is, you mentioned something concerning how we can propose a research, submit research proposal. Is it that proposal that is going to be in line with what the professor we are reaching out to is going to be, or the proposal of the probably like previous research we've like written before, like summary of it? Is that what you mean?
Okay. Thank you for that question, Samiat. What I meant by research proposal is some professors would, after sending them code mail, they tell you, okay, I've seen your work. Of course, before you send a code mail, you are aligned with that professor, right? So the professor will now tell you to go and write a research proposal. Of course, if the professor is doing something on thermodynamics and writing a research proposal, of course, your research proposal has to be on thermodynamics, something surrounding thermodynamics, or you just go and look at what the professor has done. Because one thing is this, it's very easy to lose the professor's interest when you are doing a follow-up with the professor. Why that happens is because if the professor tells you, okay, Samia, please go and write a research proposal, and you go and write something so different from what he does, like you did not really go and do your findings about his previous works, you can just lose the professor's attention, and he will not reply you again. No matter the amount of follow-up you do, you will not get any response. So please tread carefully when you're writing a research proposal. It has to align with what the professor is doing. It is not something you have done before. So I also advise that when it comes to graduate program, it has to be something that interests you. You cannot just say because you want to live in Nigeria, you want scholarship, you want the money, you will not go and do something in a field that you struggle with a lot. It can be a very, very big nightmare. So I don't know if I answered your question, Samuel.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much. Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much, sir, for that one. We have a question in the chat box, and I'll just read it. So Okwala Chinaza said, "Thank you so much, sir, for this session. I gained a lot." So speaking of international scholarships, you mentioned a lot of requirements. Oh, I'm coming. This- You mentioned a lot of requirements we need to apply. Although I'd like to ask, what do we look out for in applying for international scholarships?
Okay, so there are a lot of international scholarships that people apply to. I think you guys already know some like this. I think there's PTDF, there is a MasterCard, there is Shivnin. All of those type of international scholarship are there. Of course, I did not look at all of those scholarships because one thing I discovered is the process can be extremely exhausting. The the requirements are of very tall order. So and they're extremely competitive. So sometimes even very, very good students can be left out. So when you're applying to those kind of scholarships, the requirement you just have to look out for is, of course, you mentioned international scholarship. I don't know if it is peculiar to maybe you're applying to a particular university or something, but let's say international scholarship. First thing first is your CGPA, because that's the first leveler. A lot of very top students are coming from different backgrounds, and they expect to see that all of you are high performing students. So whether you're a first class student or something, if you're applying to those type of scholarship that I mentioned, MasterCard, Shubmin, PTDF, that is the first leveler. So you need a very high CGPA. I believe that is one of the requirements. They will even state it there. So then research experience, you need it. It's very, very important. Publication is very important when it comes to this. Then your social engagement, that's volunteering experience, how much you have done for social change. All of those things are very, very important metric when it comes to international scholarship. But one thing you cannot do away from is that your undergraduate degree, how far you went, how did you go, how did you perform, that cannot be removed from the equation. So your CGPA, your overall performance, at the same time, it doesn't have to be you have to be, maybe you have a first class, but at least a very good CGPA. Research experience, publication, volunteering experience, you need all of those things. Then if you can afford it, write test of English. Some international scholarship want you to write IELTS. So if you can write it, please, by all means, you should. By all means, you should. So if there's another thing you still want clarity on, you can still ask a question.
Thank you very much for that one. I hope that has answered your question, Chinanza. So the slot still opens. Do we have any more questions? So you can raise your hand, or you can raise your hand, or you can type them in the chat box. Thank you very much.
Mercy, do you know the question?
All right. So, Timothy, you can unmute your mic and speak.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir. Thank you once again for this section. I really appreciate. My question will be concerning the research part. My question is, how do I go about making a research? Like for someone that have not made a research before, how can I get to make my own research? Is it that I just pick a concept and make research on it? And my second part of the question is, like looking at the world of AI now, how can I make use of it during research, and what's best way can I make use of AI for research?
Thank you very much for your question. For your questions, you have two questions. So now for the first part of your question, how can you go about research? I have to be very honest with you. Please, what's your name? I want it to be a very personalized answer. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Timothy Donald, sir.
Okay, Timothy Donald. So,
Yes.
Donald. So let me say this.
Yes,
I
sir.
think it can be very overwhelming when it comes to starting your research journey. Very overwhelming, considering you have not even done anything before. So you ask if you can just pick a concept or just start something. I don't think that is how it works. Most likely, there are people among your peers there that have something that they are passionate about. Maybe there is a research direction they are passionate about and they're interested in. You should just maybe talk to them. Um, they should be able to direct you on how to start. But let me tell you what you can do. We are in which department, Donald?
I'm in electronics and computer engineering, sir.
Okay, good. So for someone who is in probably electrical engineering, um, let's say your interest is in, okay, let's
So
say
can I give
antenna.
an example? Like power.
Okay, give me an example.
Okay, like let's say something like power engineering, power system.
Okay, good power system. Now there must be before one thing you have to know is you cannot just dive into research without having that um, drive, something that is
Without having
pushing
what,
you.
sir?
Without having that drive, there must be a drive. There must be something you are trying to get an information for. There must be something you are trying to solve. If you don't have that innate passion for that power, you said something about power. So if you don't have that innate passion for, okay, there's something about how power interacts with public infrastructure. I am really interested in how this affects public infrastructure, and I'm really interested in how this cuts into the deeper um, general engineering. So I think I need to do some research on this. Okay, let me go. Let me just go online. Now you go on Google Scholar, power engineering and public infrastructure. Most likely you will find papers on that thing that interests you, because there must, before you can start a research journey, there must be something like a curiosity. You must be curious about something like, oh, I want to do this thing. And that curiosity will now start pushing you to start making findings. So you can start your findings from, okay, let me go and check papers on Google Scholar. Let me even see if somebody has done this thing before. Or you're always questioning, why do we have this particular phenomenon in power systems? Why does this thing, why does it go anti-clockwise? Why not clockwise? I want to see why this thing go clockwise. There must be a reason. So that's like a curiosity that you want to make a research on. So that will foster that need to make that research work. So from that, it will elicit you into, okay, let me go and read this paper. Oh, okay, Messi has worked on this. Let me read what Messi said. Oh, okay, Messi said something like this. Oh, Messi said something like this. Oh, Sylvester said something like this. Oh, but when I read Sylvester's work, when I read Messi's work, when I read Anima Shawn's work, oh, there's a particular gap. I think they did not talk, because by then, before you can identify those gaps, you must have attained some level of knowledge, you must have gained some level of knowledge before you can identify gap. If you want to copy someone's assignment, maybe first, maybe for instance, partial derivative, and they just give you the assignment, just copy it. You don't know if it's wrong, you don't know if it's right. You cannot question it, you cannot say, Sylvester, I think this derivative, this thing is wrong. I think something is wrong here. For you to be able to do that, that means you understand it yourself. So you don't have to have a very deep understanding, but for you to be able to question what somebody has done, not like you need a PhD level understanding or a master's level understanding, but at least you read it. Oh, okay, I know this. Okay, this person has done A to B. Okay, let me try and see if you do A plus B divided by C, is this something that can be accepted? You can't just, you have to still see if they are still in the bound of science, still in the bound of engineering. So all of these things will elicit you to ask the important questions. So you can start from, you said something related to power and all. So start reading papers on power. There must be something in particular, maybe the way the power engineering works, maybe the way it relates to public infrastructure, maybe the way it relates to AI. That should elicit you into asking questions. Those questions will now elicit you into asking bigger questions and making deeper dive into the research world. So for AI, oh, okay, good, good. Sylvester said you guys had a previous session on research writing, so that's very good. So for AI, there's an ethical use of AI. The world is now on AI now, so you have to know how this works. You cannot just go and get answer from AI and say, okay, you want to publish it. That doesn't work. So let's say you are interested in, of course, you can infer with an AI tool. You can go to your ChatGPT. I have interest in research area, and this interests me. Can you give me a research direction? Can you give me what is obtainable in this? It will actually give you a deep dive. Okay, can you give me some like 10 relevant papers in the last 1 year that I can read. AI will actually help you. So with that, you can start, you can glean each of those papers and see, oh, okay, you might not even read everything, but you are reading the abstract. With the abstract, you can actually tell what is in the paper because the abstract is telling you your introduction, your methodology, how you have gone about it, and your results in a standard publication. So you see all of those things and say, okay, good. You have an idea. So if you read 10 of that, you already have an overall view. You understand? You have an overall view of, oh, this is what these people are saying. So that would direct you to guide your understanding. So AI can actually guide you. If you are then maybe while you are working on your publication or you are working on something, you're having a question or you're having a difficulty, you can ask AI, okay, I have this, please break it down. It will break it down. Then you go back to your own work and see how you can replicate it. You are not just doing copy and paste. There's an ethical use of AI when it comes to research work. So they are bounds on all of those things. So please, so that is the donut.
All
All right,
right.
sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. So, we would not be having any more questions. So, a round of applause for our speaker. And thank you so much, sir, for explicitly answering all the questions that was thrown at you today. We really, really, really appreciate your session for today. So, moving on quickly, we'll be taking our announcements. Nexus 3.0, Nexus 3.0, Nexus 3.0. If you're excited, can I see your virtual reactions, guys? Yes, so you've heard apply for hackathons, post papers. See, SP Lasso has made all these things very easy for you. The code for hackathon, we have our hackathon for the Nexus 3.0 and our technical poster contest. So I really implore each and every one of you to apply if you can. And also, they said attend events, and we have our field trip that's coming up on when? On Thursday, right? To Egbin Power Plant, and it would be really nice for each and every one of us to be there. I think we have about 10 slots left. So if you've not paid your money for this field trip, I don't know why you're snoozing. Don't snooze and lose, guys. We love you here in SP Lasso, and we don't want you guys to lose, right? So we have our field trip, and then we have Nexus 3.0 coming up. And these are activities hosted by SP Lasso that we do not want you guys to miss. All right, so very quickly, we'll be taking our vote of thanks and closing remarks, which will be taken by our Vice President, the person of Samia Tanimasham. So you have the floor, ma'am.
Yeah, Messi, thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so we have come to the end of today's session, and I would like to sincerely appreciate our speaker for today, Mr. Okay, let me call it the professional name. I'm so sorry, Mr. Madekannu Ogunbiyi, for sharing such insightful and practical knowledge with us. I mean, like the guidance has been a lot, and as Messi has mentioned, the pages are like filled with things like jottings. So I would like to inform us that we should be inspired by this, right, to think beyond our limits and to also take intentional steps towards our like global goals. I know jackpot, like, not, I don't want to encourage everybody to jackpot, but at the same time we jackpot to go and like learn more, to go and know more, and to come back to Nigeria and give to the country. I know some people not agree, but that's fine. So to everyone who joined, thank you for your time, your attention, and your engagement. Opportunity like this are only valuable when we actually act on what we've learned. So I want to encourage every one of you to take the next step. So whether you are searching or you're not sure or you're preparing, just take that like bold step, right, into what you've always dreamed of. It's possible. Mr. Madekannu has shared how like his experience with us. I mean, he was once a student like us, and he has actually gone through. I'm very sure he has even experienced what I should say than what we're actually facing now, because things are actually getting better than during his time. So we have no excuse, right? We have no excuse to not get there. Well, let's all continue to pray anyway. So, on behalf of the Society of Petroleum Engineers, Lagos State University, we truly appreciate your for your presence and participation. It is not the end of the journey. It is just the beginning of something that is great. So have a wonderful evening, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you in our next event, as Mercy has announced, Nexus 3.0. Thank you. And yeah, of course, the industry visit. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.